What is going on, guys? Predator458 here, and welcome back to my channel. And welcome back to World of Warships, where we have another viewer replay for you guys. This time submitted by Crudbasher in his Tier 6 American battleship, the glorious New Mexico. Now, a big thank you and an apology must go out to Crudbasher, because he submitted this replay a fair while ago, and at the time he said, look, the game had been recently updated, so we weren't sure if the replay file was going to work. It did work, and I recorded the gameplay then and there. Unfortunately, when I got round to using this replay, the video file that I'd recorded was gone. No idea where it went, and the replay file wouldn't work anymore. World of Warships just crashed as soon as I tried to load it up. So he very generously offered to record it on his side, because he had kept the older client, and then uploaded himself to Google Drive, and that way I could then download the footage and still show it to you guys, because it is quite a good match, and he's not going to be alive for that long, but he's going to do a hell of a lot in the time he is, and really show some superior numbers on the enemy team. He's going to come up against a number of battleships, and he's going to hold his own quite well. But his first target, he has a Fuso at 18.3 kilometers. He launches a scout plane to get the extra range onto this Fuso of... every time I see that name, I always want to say hoplite. But presumably it is, the Greek word hoplite. And there's a second Fuso, and it looks like everyone is shooting at Crudbasher. But he managed to get a good 5 hits on that Fuso, doing 7,500 damage. He is in a division, a squad, not sure exactly what World of Warship calls it, platoon, a little mini fleet. He has 2 friends with him, one in a New Mexico and one in a Cleveland, and they're a little bit behind him and moving in his direction. So now he has another Fuso, again at 18 kilometers, going to take the lead and fire off another full salvo. But yeah, just going to keep moving in. He is going to move towards only a single hit there, unfortunately. EF2, that sort of area. And he's going to get into a good old fight with the enemy over there. But things are so far even Steven on the team. No one's obviously captured a point, and no kills yet. So, yeah, everything is okay. But there we go. The enemy has lost a Clemson, destroyed by a Cleveland. So, was that Clemson in a squad? Seems like a rather high tier for a Clemson to get into, but you can already kind of see where the direction of this match is going. Where Crudbasher is heading, there are 3 enemy Fusos, only one of which has taken any kind of significant damage. And again, I mean, there's a Clemson on his team as well, but his ally, again, a little bit behind him, he's also got a New York with him, and his Cleveland squad mate is heading around the other side of this little island. So hopefully he will be able to provide some fairly good support when the time comes. And what do we have here? Nicholas, hello sir, 10 kilometers. Is he going to continue heading towards us? He is. Got a friendly Nicholas as well, so that will help in that engagement if he continues straight around that corner. It looks like he may have been turning off to his starboard side to head on the other side of the island, rather than coming straight towards this little fleet of the Nicholas and the 2 New Mexicos and the Cleveland, not far behind. So we're just waiting to see what's going to happen next. There is a Kuma at 18, and a Furu Tucker and an Omaha are also on the left side of the map. And now here is his friend, and he's kind of slowed down and allowed him to catch up. The Cleveland is also now in close proximity to them, as well as the New York directly behind him. Kuma is within weapons range, but he has just disappeared. And it, on a side note, it turns out I'm a bit of a sucker for punishment. Today, when I'm recording this, patch 1.55 came out for War Thunder along with the British armor tree. So guess what I did? Yeah, downloaded it. Downloaded the update. Playing around with some British tanks. Taking some shots at this Nicholas, which was presumably the same one from earlier. Only manages a single hit. But there's a lot of fire going into that poor guy. He's down to 4,800 health. Here come the Fusos. All three of them, and the Omaha. Because Nicholas is on very, very low health now. Easy pickings for Battleship if his guns were reloaded. And he has the target spotted. And his squad mate in the Cleveland finishes off the Nicholas. So Crudbash is going to take some shots at the Omaha. Nicholas torpedoes going and gets a Citadel and a kill doing 10,500 damage. Unfortunately, it looks like his squad mate took us some torpedoes. His Cleveland buddy is also sailing off to engage the Furutaka. And this pretty much leaves Crudbasher in an interesting situation. 3 Fusos versus a single New Mexico. The New York doesn't look like he's quite made up his mind yet where he's going to go. Torpedo warnings from behind. 3 hits and a Citadel for 2 Citadels, sorry, for 29,000 damage, and that Fuso just went from a really big threat to not such a big one, and that was only with the front 2 guns. The rear 2 guns go off, he gets another 2 Citadels, finishes that guy off for about 24,000 damage. It looks like the New York is now following him in. So 5 Citadels already, 2 kills, but now we've got another full health Fuso who has fired a full salvo. Is that directed at Crudbasher or is it going towards someone else? The Furutaka destroys his Cleveland buddy, another Citadel, and a hit for 14,000 damage. This Fuso is now opening up, missing his shots, thankfully. And this is like a situation where, obviously, the New Mexico, the situation really does favor the New Mexico in terms of close-range brawling with a Fuso. But when you've got 2 of them, you know, that's a hell of a lot of guns, and they don't need to get Citadels to do big damage. They could, if they wanted to, switch to high explosive, I suppose, and all just burn you to death. So one-on-one, New Mexico is superior in this situation, but 2-on-1, it is interesting. 4 hits there for just under 8,000 damage. Rear turrets are now getting ready, and as he said when he submitted this replay initially, it's quite a good example of you know, just armor angling and that sort of thing, because these Fusos, their armor's not the best anyway, and they're giving far flatter sides than Crudbash is generally. I mean, here he's a little flat, and I mean, he takes 7,000 damage, but he's not quite going as broadside as these guys are. Another salvo in, 5 hits, 9,500 damage, and he gets himself high caliber. He pops his repair party to build his health back up to 49,000. He's just waiting on those rear guns to get ready, and he's going to fire those off, and I think he's going to try and re-angle, although in this position, no matter who he angles at, I think someone else is going to get the other Fuso will get a decently flat shot at him. He takes 17,500 damage, double heavy damage there, so there was at least 1 Citadel in that salvo from the Fuso. And I don't know what happened there. If it was lag or a cat jumped on his mouse, I don't know. But suddenly as he went to go and fire, he, New Mexico, who got that? Someone else got that Fuso. But now it's thankfully down to 1. But yeah, I don't know what happened, why his mouse, why his cursor suddenly pulled to the right like that. But now he's taking fire from behind, possibly from that Furutaka. But he's going to get a salvo off into this New Mexico. 3 hits for 8,000. But again, that was only with 2 of his guns. He set the Fuso on fire with the secondaries. 8 hits for another 15,000 damage. Takes 6,000 in return. And unfortunately, he's now lost one of his front turrets. Trying to turn in, trying to keep the nose pointed towards this Fuso, trying to keep his armor angled, and he could really do with two front guns right now, and they're just kind of circling each other, just waiting on the reload. Only going to have one gun ready at this time, and they've got to wait another 7 seconds. I think he tried to fire there, but he just couldn't keep his turret on target, so he's going to fire it off there. 3 hits for 7,000, and the other 2 turrets fire in. 9 hits in total, did a bit more damage, but unfortunately the Fuso had then got a bit of an angle on his armor, and now he's in a good situation against the Fuso. Its turrets are pointing the other way, but unfortunately the Furutaka is able to get some hits in, and the other New Mexico, his squad mate M. Hopper, manages to finish off that Fuso. And right now it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 versus 3. They're leading on points, so let's cut away now to the results. And as you can see, even though he was only alive for a fairly short amount of time, he did do rather well with 212,000 credits, 3,100 reputation, the high caliber ward. He got 52 target hits, 1 plane shot down, 1 incapacitation, 2 kills, 4 fires, and 6 citadels. As for the team score, he came first place on his team by 700 odd points, ahead of his squad mate in the other New Mexico, who did manage to pick up another kill during the remainder of that match. But I mean, 2,122 base XP is nothing to be ashamed of. It is a pretty phenomenal performance, especially when you consider, as I say, he was alive for a rather short amount of time. The Furutaka that killed him was first place on the enemy team with a base XP of 996. As for damage done, he did 152,000 armor-piercing damage, 8,400 from fires, and 5,300 from his secondary batteries. So over 160,000 damage in 10 minutes. But of course, he wasn't in combat for the entire 10 minutes. But anyways, Crud Basher, thank you very much, sir, for sending in this replay. I hope you enjoyed seeing it up there. And once again, a big thank you for helping me out with getting this footage to me so I could cover it for you. If you've had an epic, awesome replay, check the description down below for the email address that you guys can use to send in your replays, along with the screenshots of the various result screens. But anyways, I think that's about it for this video. If you enjoyed, please feel free to hit the thumbs up button down below and consider subscribing for more World of Warships, Armored Warfare, and a few other things that are thrown to the mix from time to time. But anyways, that is it from me. Thank you very much for stopping by. This is Predator 458 signing off, and I will see you guys next time.